welcome everyone to our April full moon celebration. I'm Kendra Kobler, and I'll be your Moonshot host today. Please introduce yourself in the chat and let us know where you're calling in from. According to the RSVPs, we have attendees from over 50 countries, so very exciting. Some quick logistics. That's perfect segue for my logistics. Please keep yourself on mute when you're not speaking, and beware of the share screen functionality. I should be the only one doing that today, and I will mute everybody now if you don't mind. And now we will kick it off with a quick intro from Susie Ellis, who's the chair and the CEO of the Global Wellness Institute. She'll briefly speak about the Wellness Moonshot, its founding group of wellness pioneers, and our special guest today. So Susie, please take it away, and don't forget to unmute yourself. Oh, you're unmuted. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra, and welcome everyone. And I have to say, this is a very special Moonshot celebration. And it's the full moon, and it is a pink moon. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. But it started out, and I want to introduce the person who really helped launch this Wellness Moonshot, a world free of preventable disease. And Rich, I thought I would show a photo of you in all of your, regalia. I don't even know what all those signas mean, and the hat and so on. But this, for all that have joined, this is Dr. Richard Carmona. He was the 17th Surgeon General of the United States, and is now with Canyon Ranch, and had just a formidable career in medicine and wellness. And it was Dr. Carmona who we asked to speak at it was our second global, at that time called Spa Summit, and it was at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. And he spoke, and he, being a medical professional, spoke about the fact that when and he'll tell this story better than I, but that when he was a medical doctor, he realized so many of his patients had problems that were totally preventable. And when he said in that keynote, that by the way got a standing ovation, that 70% of disease and illness could be preventable, I just thought that is unbelievable. And that's why he went into more of the wellness side, and certainly as a champion of prevention. So that's a long story. This was about 14 years ago. Nevertheless, we come to today, and if you'll show the next slide, Kendra, this shows where we actually launched the Wellness Moonshot, a world free of preventable disease. And that's Dr. Carmona on the very right. And what happened is he got a lot of his colleagues, and you can see there Dr. Andrew Weil on the left, Dr. Oz, there's Dean Ornish, there's someone, Michael Roizen from the Cleveland Clinic. We had someone from Mayo Clinic, the head of Weight Watchers, Sue Harmsworth, that many of you know. And together, we decided, what can we do together that none of us maybe can do on our own? And that is to bring attention to prevention and to really eradicate the world of preventable disease. That is the big moonshot thinking. So Rich, Kendra's going to introduce you a little bit more formally, but I wanted to tell everyone that story. And it is so special that you're here with us today. And thank you so much for your leadership. It's really been an inspiration for our entire industry. And now what's happened, it's become a global, it has global momentum. And as you'll see, there's, many, many, many millions of people around the world who are now getting on board of this idea. And I think the pandemic has just accelerated it. So Kendra, over to you for the rest of the introduction.
Absolutely. So Dr. Carmona has been with the Wellness Moonshot for many, many years. As you can see, I'll just show a few more images of him in the 2018 summit, as well as the 2019 summit. And this last photo is a personal favorite, signing the Wellness Moonshot board with aspirations to eradicate preventable disease worldwide. So I like that little throwback to kick us off. But for the formal introduction, I now have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Richard Carmona, the 17th Surgeon General of the United States and current Chief of Health Innovation at Canyon Ranch, among many other impressive accolades. And Dr. Carmona is here today to discuss wellness post-COVID and help us understand why hope is a crucial factor. Over to you. Oh, you're on mute. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm there now. Thank you. And thank you, Kendra, for the nice introduction. And Susie and Nancy, virtual hug to you and everybody else. It's so great to be part of this big family globally, all in pursuit of wellness. So today, to what Susie just said, I would say that we're kind of an overnight success in 15 years, and we're still working at this. Been asked to address hope in the COVID environment and how hope can inspire wellness and the wellness movement. I will tell you, it kept me up all night thinking about this, how to concisely in 10 minutes say something that is hopeful, inspirational, and aspirational. Today, we need hope more than ever. Often it is said hope is not a strategy, but it is the fuel of aspiration that creates a better future. While there is life, there is hope. There is no medicine so great, no tonic so powerful as the expectation of a better tomorrow. Hope is the fuel that has us accomplish the impossible. Hope is embodied in the 244-year American experiment called democracy. Hope that we will recover from all that divides us and be well as one. Hope is the optimism that humans globally can coexist, as John Lennon sang in his timeless song, Imagine, or Marvin Gaye sang in his prophetic song addressing what's going on. You see, hope exists in all of us individually and collectively. As 7.5 billion people who cohabitate this shrinking world, irrespective of our gender, ethnicity, or political persuasion, as humans, we want wellness. It is the common denominator we all hope for. COVID has brought our world to its collective knees. It has robbed us of wellness, challenged our humanity, left a trail of tears from 150 million cases and over 3 million dead. But as we experienced fear of the unknown a year ago, in a world already suffering from its tribal politics, a pandemic fueled hope globally that we must pursue wellness, for its absence was excruciatingly painful, costly, and preventable. It added significant burden to our global wellness value proposition of creating a world free of preventable disease, a burden disproportionately expressed in people of color and the poor. It magnified the global health disparities that exist, sometimes invisibly, in all our communities, right in plain view. But the fear gave rise to hope, and hope inspired global innovation and positive disruption, which united us in the pursuit of regaining wellness. Hope in a very short time caused competitors to come together globally in a humanistic effort to understand an unknown invisible threat, COVID-19, to educate the world to prevent transmission of disease, to rapidly develop treatments, to rapidly develop vaccines, the fastest in history, to identify and treat the rapidly mounting mental health challenges associated with COVID, to recognize how fragile humanity is, and most importantly, how interdependent we are globally. To understand that hope is an epigenetic input that can enhance immune function and cardiovascular function. It is a fuel to optimize our performance. To understand that achieving wellness requires the active pursuit of health that can't be taken for granted. COVID accelerated analog to digital, all digital platforms of science and health, business and academics, telecommuting, and more, and coincidentally dropped our carbon footprint simultaneously. In short, hope is what gave us the power to rise from our collective knees and inspired humanity to rise above a common foe, the first pandemic in over a century, and appreciate the gift of wellness, which brings us together as humanity and must never be taken for granted. Hence, our Global Wellness Institute and Global Wellness Summit are incubators of crowdsourced hope globally, for we, the global health family, represent a humanistic approach to the pursuit of a well world who wants to live longer, younger, happier, healthier, and cheaper. Hope is seeing light through the darkness. As Einstein said, learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. And as Gandhi said, which may be the ultimate expression of hope, be the change you want to see in the world. And last, and appropriate for this time in pandemic history, as we hope to put COVID in the rearview mirror, a quote from Jonas Salk, who with Dr. Sabin created the polio vaccine and stopped a polio epidemic or pandemic. I quote, "Hope lies in dreams, imagination, and in the courage of those who dare to make dreams into reality." That's what's before us today. It's the challenge to our global wellness family, through our institute that does the great research to inform us and drive us forward, through the summit who brings us together to crowdsource all of our ideas and make for a better world. So I'm deeply appreciative of the opportunity to be with you today and to be able to craft a few words that hopefully inspires this group to do great things, capture those dreams, and let's make a better world free of preventable disease. Thank you.
Thank you,
Rick,
Dr. Cremona.
Rick, that was great. Kendra, do you mind if I just ask Dr. Cremona a quick question?
Please.
Dr. Cremona, I really love the idea of incubators of hope. That is how you described us. And I kind of feel that. And I think what it is it's important because, you know, even though there's science around and all kinds of politics and whatever, you know, being an incubator of hope, you know, that can affect a lot of people. I'm just wondering, you know, how you feel about that. You know, I mean, had you thought about it before? Maybe I'm the first person that's, you know, reacted to that. Maybe you've talked about it a lot. I don't know.
Susie, thanks for the question. I haven't spoken about it a lot. In fact, these words I probably wrote down after being up half the night thinking about what I could say that demonstrated hope and inspired others. And so the concept of crowdsourcing hope, of creating an incubator of hope, which is what we do. You know, I just kind of thought, well, what have we done the last 15 years in all of these places all over the world? What is our common humanity? What brings us together as one? Well, it is hope. It is really hope. It's the most powerful thing. And like I said, from the stuff that's hard to define to the measurable, the immune system, cardiovascular function, the epigenetic input of hope, it is that fuel that makes all this better. And as I started thinking about it, it's kind of an incubator. Every one of our meetings every year is an incubator of people who are invited to come in with their best imagination, hope, innovation, disruptive ideas. And we all leave hopefully academically exhausted and thinking, okay, I can do some of these things. When we first started the Moonshot, remember Susie saying, we have to do something big. We have to do something disruptive. We need to change the world. And I said, all right, well, let's go for it. Let's just a world free of preventable disease. And here we are, you know, almost 15 years later, 14 years, whatever it is. And so I think that incubator idea hopefully captures the essence of who we are and what we're trying to do, you know, for a better world.
And, you know, somebody mentioned the other day on a call, I think it was Dr. Michael Rosen from Cleveland Clinic. He was saying that, he said, we can have our own moonshot and we can reach that. In other words, you know, you think, oh, a whole world free of preventable disease. Well, that is certainly a big idea. And, you know, that might be off a ways, but each of us individually can create a world. Our world can be free of preventable disease if we take care of ourselves and we do what we need to do. And I thought, you know, I've never thought about that. What do you think of that idea of kind of personalizing Moonshot and then recognizing, you know, I can have my world free of preventable disease and then maybe it can go to a family and so on.
Well,
What do you
Susan,
think about that?
I point out things that you said many years ago. when we had our early discussions. And I said, one of the challenges sometimes with folks in public health, and, again, I came from the dark side. I was on the clinical side, taking care of people who were shot and stabbed and blown up as a trauma surgeon and realizing that this is all preventable. But you and I had those discussions. And I said, that one of the challenges with public health professionals is that they want to wrap their arms around the world and make it a better place. But you can't do that at once. It's a lot of increments. And you were the one that says, well, Richard, how do we do this? How do we do each one? And remember, we looked at our list, we looked at all the members and dozens of countries and said, let's give each of them the opportunity to define in their community what it is they can do to make that community better. And collectively, we're changing the world because we're representing 50, 60, 70 countries, and thousands of people. That's how change comes about. Hence the incubator, that everybody is incubating those ideas and making it better. So I think this is we've never defined it this way, but it's actually just an offshoot and an evolution of many of the discussions that have occurred over many years.
Thank you so much. You're always inspiring, and that's what keeps this Moonshot going. And Kendra, I'll send it over to you because I know you have a lot to share. But Dr. Carmona, when you see the number of people who are now part of the momentum, I mean, it's very exciting, but it's only a drop. There'll be many more. But I think we've already made some progress, and I love the theme of hope.
Last comment, Susie. When I see the numbers in these conferences in person and virtually, it gives me great hope for a better world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Carmona. Very inspired with that epigenetic input. I wrote that down as well, Susie, the incubator of crowdsourced hope globally. And the perfect segue is, as the author of our monthly Moonshot articles, Renee Moorfield is here to speak more about this month's focus, hope. And Renee Moorfield is the CEO of Wisdom Works, a social enterprise that builds well-being driven leaders, brands, and workplaces globally. And she is on the board of the Global Wellness Institute. Over to you, Renee.
Thank you, Kendra. And I have to say, it is always great to see everyone's faces. Someone on the chat said, I want to give you, Rich, a hug. I think Jackie Roby said that, and I would love to do the same thing. I feel like my energy lifted about 100 times what it was just by listening to you. And so as I say that, I also prepared many, many notes for this, but what I'd like to do is something completely different. Just in the moment, because of what we just heard from Rich, I'd like to do actually a practice where we start to get a sense of where hope lives within us. You all have read the article that I wrote regarding hope for the Wellness Moonshot. We know how important it is for buffering stress, for living a life where we are not just living well-being, but we are an active agent, an active invitation to the well-being of others. So with all of that in mind, I'd like for you to gently just push yourself away from the computer, even if it's just a millimeter of a nudge, or your device if you're on the phone, just as an act, a ritual to say, okay, I'm going to disconnect from my device for a second. And if you're sitting, notice all the places where your body connects in the chair. If you're standing, like I am, notice the soles of your feet as they press in the floor. And close your eyes if that's comfortable, or find a stationary point on which to rest your gaze. First, bringing your attention to the muscles around your eyes, and let those muscles soften as if your eyeballs could rest gently back in the sockets. Noticing how much reaching forward we've already been doing in our days. And pay attention to your breath, noticing how the breath moves into the body and how it leaves the body. And that gentle act of attention may have already deepened or lengthened the breath. Go with that, making the inhalation a little deeper and making the exhalation a little longer. bring your attention right around your heart. And if it helps, place one or both hands right at that place, right around your heart, allowing yourself to breathe right into that hand as if your heart could breathe. And recalling Dr. Carmona's words, as if we could breathe in hope and also breathe out hope, being an invitation to hope for others. You may even turn up the corners of your mouth just slightly, like a Mona Lisa smile. Noticing where hope lives in your body. Noticing where hope lives in your energy. Noticing that hope is an inner resource, always available to each one of us. And it's a source of connection. It's like interstitial tissue. That fiber that connects each one of us to each other in this larger mission to create a world free of preventable disease. Take 2 more deep breaths. And with that second breath, become aware of the sounds of the room around you. Perhaps become aware of all the places where your body connects with the chair or your feet connect with the floor. And if your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes. I challenge each one of us, definitely me included. This year has been really challenging. Someone told me we're all in the same boat with this pandemic. I actually think we're all experiencing something similar, but we're all in different boats. Some of us are deeply, deeply, deeply suffering, and many of us are really languishing, feeling undirected, unmoored, not knowing what's next. There's a lot of free-floating anxiety. So any way that we, as this incubator of hope, I love that phrase, as this incubator of hope, can connect daily with the hope within us so that we are moving from that space. That is our inner game. We're moving from that inner game. That is going to be a way we support our own lives, support each other, and support this greater work in the world. We're up to something much greater, and hope is a fuel. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Renee. When we put our hands on our heart, I felt like my heart was breathing, and that just feels like the definition of hope right there. So thank you so much for that grounding practice. I now have the pleasure of introducing Nancy Davis, the Chief Creative Officer and Executive Director of the Global Wellness Institute, who will provide us with a Moon Minute. And I will have a little visual to go along with you, Nancy.
Thank you, Kendra. You know, this month, as I'm sure most of you know by now, we're having a remarkable moon, a super moon, a pink moon. I've been seeing the moon each evening here in Connecticut as it lights up the house, casting a glow inside that reminds me there are forces at play in nature that are important to acknowledge and respect. A super moon occurs when the moon is in its closest point to Earth in its monthly orbit. It appears bigger, brighter. Even the oceans feel the pull, resulting in spring tides, when the high tides are higher and the low tides lower. Power of the moon, a beacon of hope. I think about the songs that have been written about the moon: Moon Dance, Moon Shadow, Fly Me to the Moon, Moon River, so many more. Poetry and prose, music and musings. The world is fascinated with that glowing orb in the night sky, and children's literature too. Good night, moon. The moon is at once exotic and familiar, always there, reliable, yet impossible to reach, for most of us anyway. But I happen to love what Jim Lovell, an Apollo astronaut said about the moon, which I feel makes clear our own ambition when it comes to a world free of preventable disease. He said, "From now on, we live in a world where man has walked on the moon. It's not a miracle. We just decided to go." Isn't that the real lesson for all of us? We just have to decide to go.
Wow, thank you, Nancy. So poetic. Man, everyone brought their A game today. I'm so impressed. Thank you for that. I now have the pleasure of introducing Kim Collier. I'm excited for this one, who has been a spa and massage practitioner for 34 years, is an international educator, and a member of GWI's Massage Makes Me Happy initiative. She hopes to empower education and advocacy for the healing arts of touch therapy. Today, she will provide a self-care massage routine. Kim, over to you.
Oh, blessings. Thank you, Kendra, and hello, global family. To carry on the beautiful work and breathing that Renee introduced, as if your heart could breathe, let's breathe our whole bodies and go back to that practice of feeling your feet, ankles uncrossed, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your full moons, your buttocks centered in your chair, your sacrum being the base of your spine. From your sacrum, take your arms to your heart and connect with an exhale, your sacrum to your heart as you roll the spine, pull the navel to the spine and round the back. And then inhale, opening the heart, the chest. Exhale, inhale, exhale, rounding full the spine, the neck as well as you open the arms and hands. Lift the shoulders with one more inhale, exhale, let it go. Shake it out, breath and balance, feeling your body fully seated, present, and into our hands, our expression of hope, life, unity, joy, all our energy and our expression in the hands, bringing your hands in a prayer and to your heart. And then pushing forward with an exhale, begin your mudra practice. Finger, thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring, pinky. Now flick, pinky, ring, middle finger, first finger, thumb, shake them out, and begin to rub the hands together, moving your chi, your energy, where our beautiful electromagnetic, hopeful, loving energy starts in the hands and the feet, turns around in the fingers. Get those thumbs, starting with a thumb on either hand, and the nail bed on both sides. You can see clearly. Pinch the ends of the fingers and flick. Pinch and flick, as in Chinese medicine, where you clear the channel and open, shake it out. The other hand at the nail bed, and feeling your hands and your energy begin to flow fully illuminated in your body, and shake that out. Bring a nice flow of blood up from your hands to your shoulders, and then let one arm rest and the other arm cross body in the ever so fabulous shoulder massage. But again, with those healing hands of yours, your soul expression in your hands, take some time to move into the tissue of your upper trapezius as you move your head side to side, yes and no, back and forth, and move that massage all the way up to your neck. And then find your clavicle bone. Living and teaching in Asian countries, anatomy may not be their driving education piece. It's where your fingers meant to massage, where you find the bone, where your hands fit. That's the clavicle. Find that bony prominence. And then tap at your thymus. Other side, shake it out. Take the head to the side with your breath, with your breathing. Again, that cupped finger and hand into your upper trapezius. And now even move the arm that you're moving. Let that arm maybe twist and move so you can palpate into some of the other tissues and open spaces. Move up into the side of the neck. Oh, my lower back just popped. Are you all, I hope you all are feeling some good relaxation. Find your clavicle, pinch the clavicle, tap the thymus, shake it out, let it go. One more, your neck, your thyroid, transverse across the muscles, both hands coming, your voice is gonna change, that's okay. Squeezing the voice box, but move into transverse across your neck muscles and then move into the lower jaw. Your fingers moving into the lower jaw towards your chin. And again, reach with your loving touch and into the lower, and then pinch the neck and give that thyroid a bit of stimulation. Speaking of stimulation, again, tapping. Where are your ears? Hello. First formed in utero. They should be nice and warm by now. All the pressure points of our body, the body map in the ears. And give the earlobe a tug. And then take those hands, shake them out one more time into your occiput. The ridge, base of the skull, just pressing firmly and again, leaning in. Even when you're at your desk, being able to put an elbow in and just lean, using gravity into the lower reaches of your skull and that connection of the bone. And exhale, breathe, shake all that out. Let's go back to where we started, and both Renee and Dr. Carmona's wonderful bringing us to the present moment and the inspiration and hope that we hold. Close your eyes. Feel your feet to the floor. Feel your energy moving up through your body, all the way through your crown chakra. And I share with you a poem of hope inspired by this gathering. As you breathe and feel your heart and body being breathed, I offer this poem and this prayer that in unity, we are Earth family. This planet we share and care for, we are the stewards, our hearts illuminated, incubators of hope. Thank you, Dr. Carmona. Under the pink moon and starlight, may we grow together, watering our souls as if our hearts could breathe, in Renee's words, watering our souls with hope, love, breath, and sunlight, because in unity, we are one. Breathe deep and be at peace. Be the hope and be the change.
Wow. Thank you, Kim. I'm convinced about the healing power of loving touch, and I love your backdrop too. I think it just says it. So thank you so much for joining us today. I feel revitalized. I'm sure our audience does as well.
Amazing what a little bit of self-care and body work can do. We feel it, we need it. And thank you all for the opportunity. Global wellness is for everyone. Blessings.
Thank you, Kim. Wonderful. Well, now I would also love to hear from our audience if they're feeling revitalized. Now is the perfect time for our interactive Q&A portion of the Moonshot call. I will be posting a prompt or a question on the screen, and we would love for everybody to reply with their answers in the chat. Just one moment while I do so. So we'll have 3 questions. So the first one is more a prompt rather than a question. In the spirit of hope, identify an opportunity that has unexpectedly emerged this past year. Perhaps a better way of working, a strengthened relationship at home, or a new priority for self-care. Let these responses come in. Oh, art teacher Nancy, I love that. Deep self-reflection. Tennis. Oh, who knew you could draw on the share screen? Interesting. I have to say more sleep, less commuting. That's also a great one for the pandemic. Connecting in a contactless world. Yes, please feel free to keep sending them in. I'm going to move on to our next question. What conscious rituals or practices do you have to connect with gratitude and growth? And a deep sense of hope is a natural byproduct of gratitude and growth. So would love to hear about your rituals, perhaps your journaling, yoga and meditation, prayer, barefoot beach walk. That's a good one. Very grounding, very, very grounding. Listening, important. Dream recall, intriguing. Want to hear more about that, maybe in the breakout rooms. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, everyone. I'm going to move on to the third question. How can we safeguard our hope from fear, manipulation, and bias? This is an interesting one, a little bit trickier. Helping each other remember, yes, that validation, those reminders that we need to stay hopeful, stay around positive people. Yes, remove negative self-talk. I like that. Being informed, having faith. These are great answers. The audience brought their A game too. Very exciting. Wonderful. So now we're for about 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in between, we're going to jump into smaller breakout rooms for a chance for you to share in a smaller group setting. And the question is, what has the pandemic taught us about hope? What do you hope for in 2021, in 2022? And before we jump into the breakout rooms, I want to quickly just share a favorite quote from Renee's article, which I feel sets the stage super nicely around this topic. Hope can enable us individually and collectively to grapple with the temptation of despair when things fall apart. It helps us hang on when we think we can't take the next step forward towards our wellness journey, and invites us to turn traumas into opportunities for growth. With hope, you and your loved ones, coworkers, and organization can reimagine a future of wellness, yes, even in tough times. So now I will assign everybody into a breakout room. I hope your discussions were fruitful and hopeful. Would anyone like to share what they talked about in their breakout session?
Yes, it's Regina from Baltimore, and I was in a great group, but as always, the breakout time is so short.
I'm sorry.
It was great because not everyone had time to talk, but we are all hopeful. That is the main thing, and we all learned to live in the moment. The one had her 3 college kids back, so she had to find a new perspective. The other one found out that it's so great to readjust with your family and have family time. And being hopeful. The other one, she overcame COVID, and she looks wonderful and radiant, and she's so hopeful for the next time. And it's also about accepting this time now and not always hoping for we go back to normal, but rather taking where we are right now and make it our normal, and hope, of course, and that we all connect here. That is something that combines all of us in the group, that we are happy and that helped us through this very difficult time.
Wonderful. That's so true, Regina. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Any highlights?
I will say that in our group, the consensus was that hope is about action, about taking action. It's a mindset, but it's about doing things, and that it's a fuel for optimism and for moving forward in a good trajectory. But it's an action.
Yes, and part of Renee's article is we have little actionable tips of recommendations of things you can do. So great to hear, Nancy. Thank you. And actions and choices, as Tara mentioned in the chat. Anybody else? We still have 2 more minutes to share with the larger group. Trying to stick with my agenda as the Moonshot host. Any brave folks? Allison, I see you
A
raising
quick
your hand.
word, maybe. Kendra, a quick word, maybe.
Please.
Everyone's looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, only to realize that sometimes tunnels are those that we create for ourselves and sometimes collectively. And if we ponder on what Rich has been sharing with us, what Renee and Kim has been leading us into, reconnecting with ourselves, our person, our environment, and with all of this fantastic Global Wellness Institute family, then we can be beacons of light where we are. And then there's no need to wait for the light at the end of the tunnel, because we can be the light wherever we are right now.
Such a good point. I guess that's where the term tunnel vision comes from. We kind of do it to ourselves. So, and lovely Moonshot calendar you have there. Great backdrop.
In a sense, the pandemic has given us a time to incubate. And it's just that we need to realize that now. What has it that we have gained out of this silence, and to bring those images of hope forward?
That's so true. It's kind of given us a moment to pause. That deep
Exactly.
reflection that someone mentioned earlier. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I may share from our group. I mean, we've heard the term hope springs eternal. And Rosalind Carr, I'm going to share what you shared with our group. Only we can put a limit on hope. That it is boundless. We just need to tap into that source within ourselves. And it'll spring eternal.
Such a good point. You can't overdose on hope. You can't have enough of it. I like that.
Well, we also talked about the importance of grounded hope too. And this is not a time of false hope, but hope that is grounded. And this is a time when all around the world, we're all doing the same thing, thinking the same thing. And COVID has drawn out so many of the things that we've hidden from ourselves from fully knowing, whether it's racism or how weak our immune systems are in certain parts of the world. And COVID is exposing a lot of those things. And this has been a time where it has been real hope, but also grounded hope. And that's very, very encouraging for what's happening in the world.
Such a good point. Thank you, Jeffrey. So glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
COVID has indeed exposed a lot of inequities, but it's also hidden a lot because the focus is on COVID. Right? It's not on the rest of people's lives that already had problems and issues and inequities and racism and bias and sexism. And now you turn on the TV, all you hear is COVID. Or, the police killing people that they shouldn't have been killing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I want to keep us rolling and stay on a positive note. So now I have the pleasure of introducing and announcing the winner of the April Moonshot Challenge, who is here with us today and will receive her own Moonshot calendar. Nadine Thompson of Soul Purpose has embraced and shared the Wellness Moonshot by creating and curating a monthly gift box called Joy of the Month. And 90% of her customers are African-American women, and her hope is to inspire them each and every month to look after their physical and mental health. Nadine, we'd love to briefly hear from you about your work with Soul Purpose and how you're using the initiative.
Sure, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here. I stumbled across Moonshot when I was doing some research on self-care and wellness and what was out there in the world. I run a company called Soul Purpose. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker and psychotherapist, and my focus has been in the treatment of African-American women and their families. And I created the Joy of the Month box as part of Soul Purpose, really as a way to inspire people. And so every month they buy this box and it's $50 and it's got, you know, things like bath salts and body butters and really fun candles and things. And we really encourage them to use them up every month and really take 20 minutes every day for themselves. So it's been really great. I really love what you guys are doing at Moonshot. And I thought that the monthly Moonshots would be a good inspiration as I curate the boxes. And so that's what I'd like to do. So it's just great. Being on the call today was really wonderful. I'm the person who got COVID back before Christmas. I actually was in the hospital up until Christmas Eve. And it was really scary. And I feel really blessed to have come out on the other end. I was really scared being African-American, being, you know, in a lot of the high-risk categories, made it a very scary experience. But I've come out feeling a real sense of hopefulness, a real sense of really appreciating more, you know, family and the things that are dear. I actually got out of the hospital and put the remaining tulips I hadn't planted in as really a way of, because I love to garden and I love the metaphors of gardening when you put things in and you hope that they're going to come up. And right now my garden is just ablaze with tulips, which to me symbolizes the hope that I felt through this winter, the sadness I felt for people who didn't recover, and the gratitude I feel that I really had good care and was able to come out the other side, and the nurses and doctors who cared for me. So I really want to continue on this journey of self-care and wellness and encouraging people to take better care of themselves and to remain in a positive space. Because I think my kids and my grandchildren, I mean, they all give me a sense of hope, and my garden gives me a sense of hope. And so I'm just really glad to now be a part of this community. It's so enlightening and wonderful.
Thank you, Nadine. And I'm so glad you've made, it seems like a full recovery. You look great,
Yeah.
very vibrant and healthy. And thank you for sharing the message with your audience and with us.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations on being on.
Thank you. I can't wait to get my calendar, and I want to do something like you've got hanging back there. That is so cool.
Yes, awesome, wonderful. Well, it's on its way. So thank you. So now I would like to ask everyone to please save the date for our May full moon celebration, which is Wednesday, May 26th. On that call, we'll be featuring our strategic partner, Tianren Culture, who will speak about the Chinese Moonshot collaboration and how they have the potential to share the Moonshot with nearly 1 billion individuals, and the focus end, which feels quite fitting. And last, but certainly not least, I have the pleasure of introducing Lisa Fasulo, the founder and director of the Center for Transformative Movement. Lisa will lead us with a very special moon dance today. Please make sure to turn up your audio to hear Lisa's guidance and the music loud and clear. Wonderful.
Thank you, Kendra. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Welcome, everyone, to today's movement segment. Each month, I show a different movement pattern that has benefits, its own benefits, and feels good in our body. And today, what we're going to be doing, I do it in giving a little bit of structure so that your own groove can come out, because that's really what dance is, and that's what wellness is, allowing our own groove to shine through. So today, what we're going to be doing is adding in some rotation. A lot of times when we dance or really go through life, we keep our shoulders and our hips kind of in the same plane when we move, instead of rotating. So in yoga, that's one of the big movements in yoga are twists or rotations. So one way to add it into dance, come on up, stand up for a sec. We're going to be having the treat to listen to Moon Dance today by Van Morrison, and it's a very snappy song. And what the movement pattern is stepping out with one foot and then twisting your whole body in the direction of that back foot, but leaving your head facing forward. And that creates a twirl.